Well, this sucks.
No other way to put it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. It's been real. Good night.
That's right.
I love it. Deuces.
So, like, here at XFL Chalk Talk, through all of this COVID-19 BS, we've been trying to be, optimistic, positive. We're here to talk XFL. We're here to get you through it. Look forward to the next season. And, like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but, like, I'm trying to find something positive here, guys. Like, these past few weeks, like, just how quickly things have just fallen apart really sucks. Like, it was like, what, 3-4 weeks ago, Kenny, that we were talking about taking our trip to New York, and we were going to have a show live up in New York.
Live show.
We had just signed with Blue Wire. Like, it's just, like, crazy how things have escalated and just kind of unraveled when it comes to the XFL.
I've never experienced such a swift 180 on something of this magnitude. I mean, dude, it was literally a month ago. We were walking into DC Defenders games and people were recognizing us, like, in the stands. Like, that's how this was becoming. Like, it was becoming a real thing. And then, like you said, we were going to take our New York trip, do a fan fest in New York, expand the brand. Like, it was going to be crazy. And then just in a matter of weeks, it's gone. I have no words for it.
Yeah. It just sucks. I mean, that's just all about it. Like, I was looking through pictures of the last Defenders game we went to, and gosh, it was so much fun just to be a part of everything. And I think what makes this extremely difficult, was that it was real. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can go to an NFL game and it feels a little bit staged, and you get your drunk idiots, and it's just kind of the same everywhere you go. This felt a lot different, and that's why it just kills me. It sucks.
Yeah, I think I already have messed up. We should have started the show by introducing Kenny and his epic mustache that people are starting to notice. So I guess if that is one positive, Kenny's epic mustache is the one positive thing of tonight. That's how low things have gotten. So, like,
COVID-19.
I'm in a dark place, guys.
We haven't jumped on, in a while now, and I haven't, obviously seen Kenny, so I didn't see this till, like, when we were jumping on for the show, and I was like, whoa, I don't think I've ever seen you pulling that off, Kenny. It fits you.
No,
it
this
suits
is
you.
the first, man. This is a first. Well, I had like a 2-week Corona beard going, and then I had to shave it off last night because it was just bugging me. And so I shaved it, and I left the mustache, and I was like, you know what? This just looks right, feels right.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things, guys, that sucks about this. Like, I don't even know where to begin. And, like, I think we need to obviously talk about just what's happened over the past few days.
Yep,
just kind of accept. Yep. And it's been hard for me. I think sorry that we haven't come out sooner, but we needed to hear more about this. I mean, it started a couple of days ago saying that employees were laid off, and it was confirmed, like, all over Twitter. Like, all of our connections in the XFL were tweeting that they were looking for jobs, how much fun it's been. And then today, they declared bankruptcy, so we were like, we kind of have to go on. But, like, for me, it's just been very hard to, like, kind of stomach what's actually happening, because so many people have invested so much time into making this. And that's, like, you have to look beyond just the football aspect of it, like what we've seen the last 5 weeks, but what's gone into it the last 2 freaking years. And, like, at this show, we've been doing this, we've been at this, like, grinding nonstop since last July. And like Kenny said, like, things were starting to take off. Like, we love coming on, live once a week, and then, doing our other recorded segments, for you guys, and just the interaction with the fans has been amazing, going to the games, but, like, just the XFL, the players, the coaches, and the staff that have just worked so hard to build this from nothing to where it was at this point. And guys, it was freaking working. The product was good. The broadcasts were high quality, professional productions. The players were into it. The coaches were into it. The fans, like we talked about going to DC games, the beer snake, like an identity was starting to shape itself of the XFL. The numbers were solid. The attendance in most places was I mean, St. Louis was talking about in their next home game like 45,000 people.
45,000.
So they were doing everything they were doing it the right way, and it was working. And you can't plan for something like this.
You know what pisses me off the most is seeing all those people on social media saying like, "Oh, it's the XFL or it's the AAF or it's just another one of the spring football league that failed." And it's like, guys, it's not the same reason. It's not because they didn't have the attendance. For every reason you just said, Riley, was not the reason why the XFL failed. It's because of the coronavirus. And they took a bet on themselves by not stealing a TV deal initially, but to like promote themselves, show that they do have a good product. And then, 2-3 years down the road, they get that mega $1 million TV deal. It just sucks that they weren't able to get that yet. This happened just a year too soon.
And how fitting was it? The final game of the XFL season was that awesome LA Tampa game. That was it. That was the final one.
It's a hell of a way to go out.
That was such a great game. That was the moment we all were sitting there texting, and we were like, dude, the league is finally hitting its stride. Like that was an awesome weekend of football. Like week 5 was amazing. And we were all sitting there talking about like how great the rest of the season is going to be, because it seems like every team's healthy. Every team has found its identity. The broadcast is going to be flowing. Like that was an awesome Sunday night football game. It was a 9 p.m. start. It was phenomenal. Like it couldn't have gone. It was literally its peak right there. And then it just.
And we had talked about it multiple times on the show. Like it was going to take a few weeks naturally when you bring an entire new team together for them to gel and mesh and kind of get on the same page that, you were going to have, and I thought for the most part, they got out of the gates pretty well. I mean, there were some sloppy things that they had to work out. That was expected, and they were just hitting their stride. And Gless, I think you've been talking with Mike Mitchell, friend of the show. He XFL writer for, News Hub and XFL board. You've been talking to him today. And I think what's the phrase that he used? It was the perfect league, but not at a perfect time, something like that. And I thought it was said very well, and it's kind of perfect summed up. This league was the right league at the wrong time.
It's exactly what he said, and really it just comes down to money. Unfortunately, I mean the profits that they were hoping to get at the gates with ticket sales, with food, with beverage, with merchandise was really supposed to float the league into year 2. And for you guys out there, like they knew that they were going to be operating at a loss for 3 years. But here's the thing, inside of their financial projections, they were projecting another half of the season of ticket revenue. I mean, think about St. Louis, right? Think about that 45,000 people showing up and all of that revenue that just comes from that one game. And think about that for 23 more games. That revenue was really supposed to carry them in their projections. And now you take all of that out. I mean, I just now it makes a lot more sense that it was just something they didn't plan for. And unfortunately, without a TV deal, because that's the only way you can get your product on a premium sports network is to offer it for free. And then just something so out of your control. And they just looked at the books and said, there's just no way. There's no way we can do this.
And I mean, to anybody who doesn't understand like what happened, look at businesses, look at established Fortune 500 businesses right now. Like there's 10 million people in unemployment. Like look at everybody who's laying people off. They're closing down their doors, companies. Like this isn't like those are established businesses. This is a new business. This was a brand new first year business. And for something like this to happen, it's catastrophic. Like first year businesses struggle already, much less for something like this. So I didn't think it would close down, but I knew it wasn't good when they had to cancel the rest of the season. I was concerned that their forecast, being a business guy, understanding business, when you have forecasts and you don't meet them, that's a very, very bad problem.
That's a bad problem for your investors, people who have actually put money forward. And the other thing, too, that hasn't helped is, obviously Vince McMahon, and this was just some speculation I saw today. It hasn't been confirmed or anything, but like Vince McMahon took basically his own money out of the WWE to fund this league. So I've seen, I thought Vince was funding it for 3 years. Well, yeah, but look at the stock price of the WWE the last year. It's gone down like 40%. So like what the actual cash you took out wasn't the actual cash, and they're losing money. So I think it came down to him was a business decision of, all right, well, I can either fund my more successful ventures with that cash, or I can sit there and just hope the XFL survives. And, he ended up, I think that's all speculation that he took the cash. Yeah. He had to make a decision on where to put this cash, and he went with, his more successful ventures. So
yeah, I'm looking at it, the documents right now. It's got Vince McMahon. He had 100% of Class A stock and ownership into the XFL. He had 76.5% of Class B. 23.5% was the WWE that had ownership in the XFL. And Kenny, I'm kind of you explained it pretty well offline earlier today. What is the difference between a Chapter 11 and a Chapter 7 bankruptcy?
So a Chapter 7 is where so for the record, XFL filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Chapter 7 would be if you're trying to liquidate all your assets. So Chapter 7 is you file for bankruptcy and you're trying to sell off everything, like anything you can sell off to pay your creditors back, you're selling. Chapter 11 is you still retain intellectual property of what you have. So they still retain, so Vince would still retain team names. He would still retain, Alpha Entertainment would retain, certain like branding. Physical assets. Yeah. XFL brand, intellectual property, the app, everything like that. So they still have the rights to it. So they can sell it at any time or start it back up at any time. Basically, it allows you wiggle room to restart eventually. I know a lot of people had talked about there's hope that the XFL would start again, but it's very, very, very rare for a company to file Chapter 11 and then those same people restart it again. I know it's been done in the past before, but odds are it's something he's going to keep in his closet if someone like Mark Cuban or somebody like that comes sniffing around and wants to start their own spring.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I was thinking the same thing. So you're telling me?
I tell you all that
one in a million talk.
Million talk. I tell you what, though, is anyone ever going to brand a football league the XFL? That name's just cursed. You can't use that name anymore.
I think
two-time loser.
I'm glad you brought it up, Kenny, because I think that's the one thing that people are kind of clinging on to, that one little piece of hope. And it is there, but it is highly unlikely that I feel like that this group that, Vince and everybody that's involved are going to be able to kind of restart the engines, because they're talking about, obviously the rest of this year is done. 2021, there's no plans to bring the league back. The entire staff has been let go for every team at headquarters, except for a small skeleton crew, which usually means it's just a small group of staff that are there to tie up the loose ends when you're doing things like declaring bankruptcy and whatnot. But yeah, I just don't see a scenario at this point, the way things have gone downhill so quickly, where, this group of people with Oliver Luck. And man, I feel so bad for Oliver Luck. He was killing it as the commissioner of this league.
I will say this: whoever decides to start a spring league again, whether it's Vince in the XFL or someone else, they need to hire Oliver Luck as their commissioner.
Yep,
100%. It'd be idiotic to do that without Oliver Luck.
Yeah, if he'd want to do it. I mean, we haven't heard from Oliver Luck yet. We haven't even heard from the XFL. If you go to XFL.com, at least at the time of us, recording this, it's business as usual. I mean, we know it's not business as usual, but they haven't addressed everything that's going on. It's been all reports. It's been all Twitter, hearing through players, staff that have been let go, legal filings, obviously, and then reporters. But we haven't heard from the league itself on all of these, which I'm sure we'll be hearing at some point in the coming days from Oliver Luck and everyone at the XFL. Yep. But,
do you know what's – I'm sorry, go ahead, Riley, then I'll go – No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Oliver Luck, what other commissioner is going to be we were there, DC, week 5, Oliver Luck interacting with the fans, getting involved in the beer snake. No XFL commissioner had a pulse on his fan base. No other commissioner had that like Oliver Luck did. And just the amount of work and creating relationships, creating that trust with the fan base, because, I'm worried that at this point, while it's not the XFL's fault, with what happened with the first XFL, with the AAF, and now this situation, like I'd have to think that this is the end of spring football for a long time. Like I just don't see how people can get in. I know for me, I got invested in the AAF. I got invested obviously in this XFL. Like I don't know if I have it in me if another spring league comes back. Maybe if this XFL came back, but as we just mentioned, that's so highly unlikely.
Yeah, Riley, I agree with you. I think that at least I was so emotionally invested in this from, obviously the moment when we started this. But I think a lot of people felt that way. I think this was supposed to be the league that got it right? That finally got spring football right. And, for no fault of its own, it just didn't work out. And I'll be honest with you, I don't see spring football being conceivable for the next 5 to 10 years, to be honest with you. I think people are just emotionally done with it. The other thing, the new CBA that the NFL just signed is going to make it harder by having more practice squad players, making practice squad players more highly paid. I just don't see it. I mean, especially with college football being as popular as it is, the reason that this was special was because it was marketed so well. The talent was there. They found a niche. They found a way to find the right people. I don't know if they're going to be able to find enough good people to get into a room to be able to say, hey, we can make this work, right? Because Oliver Luck was that guy, right? Oliver Luck was the guy, all the team presidents, they were that guy to do it, and it didn't work. So I don't know. Guys, one interesting thing that I found looking through Dan Ravel's tweet today when he posted the stuff about the bankruptcy. So looking through the creditors, you see most of the coaches, and they all have unsecured claims to Alpha Entertainment. So part of their contract for coming onto the XFL, I'm interpreting this, was you have a stake. You have an actual stake in the XFL, right? Like you are owed. You're basically a stockholder.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, Am I interpreting that correctly?
You are. And I thought it was very interesting when Bob Stoops was always, when he was he was the only coach that I really, really saw who was dead set on promoting the XFL every chance he got. Like he was on every social media page. He was on everything he did was XFL related. I mean, I was, and part of me was like, man, it's almost like he has ownership in the XFL. And sure enough, it comes out today that he has a little piece of it. So, which is smart. I mean, that's how you keep those coaches and that's how you keep them invested. They actually have a stake in the product and the profitability of it. Yeah. I thought it was genius.
It is brilliant. It is brilliant. Now, all of them are on there. It's crazy. Go ahead, Pastel.
Yep. Bob Stoops, remember, was a hot name at the end of the college football season to be college football coach for a major SEC or ACC program. And everyone was wondering, is he going to jump ship? He's going to go somewhere else? Is he going to leave the XFL? And he stood with the XFL. And it makes me just wonder if and that is the reason why, in my opinion.
Yeah, Pastel, I know on my end, you're going in and out. I don't know what
I was just going to say, you keep going in and out,
there.
Dude.
You sound like a robot. Your screen's going green. And I'm starting to question if you're the real Pastel or if we need to start asking some questions here. Who are you? And what have you done with Pastel?
He's a plant. But look,
but Pastel's Pastel's a great point. Like he was such a hot commodity when the coaching carousel was moving last summer, and he was like, "Nah, I'm sticking." Well, we know why, right? He had a freaking $1 million, $1.08 million invested in this thing, right? He's not gonna leave unless, of course, Florida State would buy that out. But it's interesting.
Right.
Yeah. I
mean,
look,
this is as much as. Go ahead, Riley. Go ahead, Riley. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is the first league that they got all of the pieces right. Like financially, yeah, obviously it's all fallen apart, but it took a freaking century, once per century pandemic to, make it crumble. And then from a football operations perspective, like the AAF did pretty well in this avenue, but they obviously were a complete disaster in the financial. XFL was solid in both of those realms. And that's what made it sustainable. That's what made it work. Having Oliver Luck, Sam Schwartzstein, all of those guys in the football operations side of things to give the league legitimacy that they didn't have with the first XFL, along with Vince McMahon's funding. But you can't plan for something like this. You can't plan for a freaking pandemic that happens once per century that's going to shut literally the entire country down. Like, I am going crazy in my house right now. I haven't left my house in so long, other than for like groceries. It's driving me nuts. Like, I never would have guessed in my wildest dreams. Like, we were debating a few weeks ago whether we should drive up to New York for the game. I never thought that it would escalate to this, to where people aren't even going to work right now. They're all working from home, not working at all. Like you said earlier, Kenny, people are losing their jobs like left and right. So, I mean, just based on the climate and the situation that the XFL's in, I think maybe we were a little naive, guys, to think that, oh, the funding's there for year 2. We knew that they had the funding in place. So, we had confidence that it was going to be back. But based on how serious things have gotten over this last month, in terms of the rest of the country, and there's been reports too that Vince McMahon is very pessimistic in terms of the direction that the economy's going. So not even just from the league financial perspective, but even if they tried to launch, where is the economy in general? Are fans going to even be able to commit financially to this league and go to games and buy merchandise? Because like we've said, that is where the revenue comes in, because they don't have TV deals in place. So the projections of what Vince and his team thought moving forward is another reason that this was just a crippling blow to the XFL moving forward. Basically, screw COVID-19.
Yeah.
Well, look, at the end of the day, there's a lot of blues to be had, and there's a lot of sad people out there. But let's kind of focus on some positive stuff a little bit. Let's talk about, Kenny. Guys, what were some of your favorite moments this year? Pastel, kick us off. What was some of your favorite? Which, by the way, I do kind of feel bad for you, because we did all this stuff, and then you missed the first month of the season at training, and then you get back.
I missed the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I got 1 week of the XFL after a year of preparation.
But what were some of your favorite moments?
So this is funny, Kenny, because there's only 1 week for me to really watch. And so my favorite moment, you talked about earlier, it was that blissful moment of that last game in LA, where everything that you just said earlier, it came together, and we saw it in one game. We saw Josh Johnson playing at the elite level we thought he was going to play. We saw Tampa Bay just dominate on the offensive line like we saw them earlier this year. That two-headed monster at running back, and the quarterback just picking up out of nowhere. But it came down to the last second. We thought we were going to see our first overtime. Everything we thought the XFL was going to be, it culminated in that very last game of the XFL. And I remember sitting in my bed watching the game man, this is like a blissful moment almost watching this, because I was so excited to see if this is what the XFL was going to be. The XFL was going to be set up for success after that week. So that honestly, that game was my favorite moment of the XFL.
This is interesting. And the comment section is starting to bring it up. Things really did start to kind of fall apart once Pastel got back.
That's right.
I brought the COVID with me.
It says Pastel's the curse. Oh, no. Get crushed.
Screw you guys.
Pastel's getting killed right now in the chat.
Because he sounds like a robot. His feed's going in and out. And since he came back, the league has just completely crumbled.
Pastel single-handedly tore down the XFL. Great.
That's your headline. That's your headline right there, everyone.
Riley, what was yours? What was your favorite moment?
There's so many things that we can talk about. One that, kind of stood out to me that I saw today on Twitter, friend of the show, Connor Folk of News Hub. He writes for News Hub. He shared a picture of him at the DC Defenders Battlehawks game, right before all this craziness went down. And he took a picture from the press box. It was like a perfect day, great atmosphere, fun football game. Those DC games were a ton of fun. I know, Gless, you said you haven't had that much fun going to football games in a long time, but just I was sitting right next to him in the press box, and just, being in the atmosphere of all of these, seeing all of the work that was put in to creating this league from scratch, and seeing the final product, seeing ESPN, ABC, Fox, there, seeing their cameras, seeing the fans that have invested their own money, seeing all of those DC Defenders and St. Louis Battlehawks, all that apparel in the stands, seeing Pep Hamilton, Jonathan Hayes, Oliver Luck was there that day, just seeing it all come together is like something that I'm going to remember forever. And I never would have thought when I was at that game that was it. That was the last real moment we were going to have, because we had a couple more games in D.C. We were good in New York. Kenny Pastel, you were talking about going to a Tampa game. Like, we were all talking about going to Houston for the championship. Never would I have thought that something like this would happen, and that was going to be my last real in-game XFL experience. So, while I didn't appreciate it in the moment, I appreciate it now. Yeah. And just the in-game atmosphere, I was really hoping we could make it to other venues. We had talked about going to St. Louis for a game. Like, I'm really bummed that never materialized and we never got that opportunity. But just being in the live game atmosphere is something that'll always stand out to me.
Good, Kenny. I'll go last. Do you have a?
Yeah, for me, mine was opening weekend, and really opening weekend and kind of a couple other things, but really opening weekend, doing the live show at
so much
Walter
fun.
Walter Sports Bar. That was absolutely. I've never been in an atmosphere like that at a restaurant that was so electric. We had friends there, we had family there, we were all sitting there. Like, that was kind of our like coming out party in terms of as a show, and the place was just electric. We had people tweeting us, dude. Brandon Silver's grandma was sitting behind us at the restaurant tweeting at us. She's like, "Hey, I'm Brandon Silver's grandma. I'm right behind you guys." Like, the starting quarterback for the Seattle Dragons' grandma. And I mean, it was so fun. And then to go into the game, and the atmosphere was absolutely electric. Yeah. Like, there was just a buzz I've never, like, it almost felt like a playoff baseball game. Kind of similar.
We're really not just saying that either. Like, it was legit like that much fun.
It was, and there was so many people there, and we got to do the like the Lee Corso bit where I threw my shirt off and put a different one on as I picked the winner. I mean, that was amazing. But just honestly, my favorite part was meeting and chatting with the fans. So, like, a lot of times, what I would do during the DC game is one of you guys would be in the press box, the other one would be down on the field, and I was roaming the stands, meeting XFL Chalk Talk fans, sitting with them, talking to them, taking photos and selfies and taking videos. Last game I met that guy who grabbed my arm as I was walking to another section. He was like, "Dude, I watch you guys all the time. I love your show, man." And I got him on Instagram and we did some stuff. Like, he came all the way down from New York to watch the game. Like, it was interacting with the fans. That was so fun. It was so pure. Like, it was just an excitement that I've never really felt at very many other sporting events, other than maybe, like I said, a playoff baseball game. But that's a playoff baseball game. This was a regular season XFL game. Like, that was my favorite part, was the atmosphere and just meeting the people.
Yeah.
What you, Gless?
You're up, Gless.
I'm up. Well, I've got. Mine's kind of a 3-part answer. So I guess I know it's kind of weird. It's all one answer, I promise.
Just get into it. Go.
Yeah, I'm going. So some of my favorite moments, when we talk about the XFL as a whole, seeing guys like PJ Walker, seeing the run and shoot offense back, seeing a lot of these players that I like watching in college, and to see them be successful, that was a lot of fun. And just kind of going off what you said, Kenny, really from a personal level, it's been just kind of something I've always wanted to do, to be able to cover a football event as a member of the media, and being able to do that. And then obviously starting a Walter Sports Pub and that electric atmosphere, and doing a live show, and being able to just tell my friends and family, like, "Dude, here's the link. Like, you'll be able to watch me. We're going to have people behind us. It's going to be a whole thing." And then walking in and being able to sit in the press box with my press badge, I still have it, and be like, "Hey, this is something I've always kind of dreamed of to do, to cover it as a member of the media." And XFL Chalk Talk allowed me to do that, and it was a lot of fun to cover it that way. And then, being able to go to the game, that second or that third DC home game, that was the most fun I've ever had at a football game. And and I have a unique perspective because I'm a DC sports fan, right? Like, I'm a Skins fan. Nats, Caps, all of that. It was the only time I've been to a lot of those games in my life. It was the only time I can ever remember a DC game where everybody in the stands was rooting for the same team. And everybody was having a blast, and everybody was looking at each other, high-fiving. I would have never thought that I would have seen in my life at a DC football game where everybody was rooting for the same team, rooting for the home team. So that's what I really liked about the experience was, especially in DC, was just the pure passion for football, and that's what it was, man. We just loved it. So those are kind of some of my favorite memories.
And I'd be remiss to not even mention our Discord. I loved it. I loved the Discord. Everybody on here who's in the Discord, man, I loved our conversations. I loved being able to interact with the fans all throughout the week. And we all had we had separate things. Kenny's crew, I definitely love you guys the most. But no, we just had fun things, man. That was such a fun. The Discord was such a fun app to be on. We had over 200 people in it, and it was a lot of XFL talk. It was just a lot of sports talk in general, getting to know people. People submitted like cool artwork for us, which I still plan on getting out to everybody.
Someone learned our intro song on his guitar.
That was dope.
Yeah, dope. It was cool, man. I mean, guys like Go Cowboys, 89, Ammo Dog. There's so many guys on there that I could call out. Friends and family too. Friends and family that showed up to our live events. Riley, your brother was there. Pastel, your parents were watching last week, texting me questions. My parents.
I love how they're watching and they're texting Kenny questions.
Oh no, they're not even texting their own son. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
My parents watched it. I had tons of friends who supported the show. Then the Wynn family, you guys have been incredible supporters of the show. Jacob Ryder, our youngest and probably biggest fan, would email me after every show we did and offer encouragement. Like, how cool is that, man? Like, you can't buy that kind of authentic experience. Like, that was so cool to me, was just getting in touch with the fans and the people and the friends and just the community. That was awesome.
Yeah, you guys have been absolutely amazing. When we started this, we had a goal. We wanted to be the biggest XFL show out there. We wanted to, be the number one show on YouTube. Like, that was our goal. But, we never thought that it would happen this quickly and we'd have such a passionate following. So thank you to everyone who has followed us throughout this entire season. It's devastating because we were only just getting started. Like, the show, the league, like everything, the momentum was going, it was rolling. And we were thrown a curveball, and I just, I want to thank everyone at the XFL, right, that gave us the opportunity to get those credentials to, at New York, we were hoping before this whole COVID-19 thing hit of doing a live show up at their fan tailgate when we were working with Gina up there. To get press passes. She was great to work with. Like, everyone that I encountered at the XFL, from a staff, coaching, player perspective, was like literally top notch. Like, it was such a well run behind the scenes organization, which is what gave me the confidence to, one, do this show, and two, to really think that this league had legs. It wasn't just what you saw every Saturday and Sunday. 2 games each day. It went so far beyond that. It was the amount of work, the effort on social media. Like, this league crushed it on social media with fan outreach, the content that they put together. So it really sucks. Like, it really sucks because I'm just so mad. Like, this is why
it's sad, man. It's just sad. It's just sad. I miss interacting with everybody. That's what makes me the most sad about this. Is I miss the community. I miss it. Mike, guys like even the professional community, Mike Mitchell, Connor, all those guys that we've had on the show. It's going to make me sad not being able to work with those guys.
Yeah, Mike's top notch, man. Mike's top notch.
He is. He's been great to the show, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just, that the XFL community has embraced us. It's just, this is why, like, I haven't really said anything over the first few days because it's just, like, really hard to kind of accept that it's over. Like, I see the tweets, I see the bankruptcy filings, but, like, I still don't want to accept it, Like, I'm kind of in this denial phase. Like, all this gear that I have, my DC Defenders hat, all the other gear that I have, like, it's now a freaking antique.
I have so much XFL stuff.
When just weeks ago, like just a few weeks ago, we were literally like in the heart of the season. Like the league was like picking up steam. It was catching, it was hitting its stride. Like, it's just very hard to really comprehend. like on top of this whole thing, like this is just not when we started the show. This is not how I saw the year 2020 going at all.
Look,
I don't think anybody did.
As a downer as it is, as a bummer as it is, guys, like a phoenix, we will rise from the ashes one way or another. This to our fans, this isn't the last you've heard of us. We don't have anything in concrete yet, and we can't really say, if we're pivoting to anything or anything like that. We're having talks behind the scenes, but in some form or fashion, you're going to see us again. And I don't know what form or fashion that's going to be, but we're going to be covering sports in the future.
I vote horse racing.
Yeah.
What do you think we should do? I say horse racing.
What's pandemic proof? Yeah, like a Madden tournament or something.
Marble racing. You ever seen the marble races? Those things are legit.
Fascinating. Yeah. Yeah, Rochambeau.
Well, Rochambeau.
No, I mean, again, this isn't the end for us. To our fans and everybody who's watching, everybody who will be watching this. This isn't the end. This isn't goodbye. This is just goodbye to the XFL. And as a bummer as it is, you're going to see us some more. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to keep bringing you the content you love. We're just, we just got to take some time to regroup and figure that out.
It's like
shave that mustache.
Yeah, it's like that scene in John Q that gets me every time. Really gets me a little choked up. It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
See you later.
What's that scene off of Naked Gun 2.5? It's like,
not
this
goodbye.
Isn't goodbye. It's only I'll just never see you again.
Yeah, so we have some things to figure out here for the show, obviously. So we're going to regroup. And if you guys have suggestions for us, what you would like to see a show on, I mean, by all means, you are our fans. We want to hear from you. Yes. So in the comment section, let us know what you want to hear us talk about if you want this thing to keep going. I've seen yacht racing. I've seen Aussie rules football. I've seen curling. We got a lot in the hopper.
I want curling.
I know.
We could just show up every 4 years and do an Olympics show.
Yeah. Spend 3 years just gearing it up. But then this year the Olympics got canceled, so that's a bad example too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we would know every beach volleyball player and their tendencies. But yeah, that was canceled too. I mean, it's just the entire sports world has been halted, except, the XFL decided to kick off. And it's just like the build up to 2020 for so long had us so jacked up. And then we finally got here and then this hits. Like, are you serious? For real? Like, this is how it's going to go? All right.
I
league,
can't
wrong time.
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine. Can you, we feel bad? Can you imagine being Oliver Luck? That's got to be the worst feeling in the world, right?
Well, I think that's why we haven't heard from him, Gless.
Yeah, he's probably
2 bottles
up
in right now.
Yeah, he's probably boozing up. He's probably got a mustache look like Kenny right now. I had to shave.
Oh, dude, he's got a full beard.
Milk was a bad choice.
Milk was a bad choice.
Got the Ron Burgundy stash going.
Or how about coaches who took the jump, right? Like, that's also who I feel bad for. Like, the players, a lot of them had already had their shot in the NFL, and so this was a way to get back. So I do feel bad for that. But there are a couple of coaches that left the NFL ranks to come here to the XFL
and
right?
CFL,
and the CFL, and took a chance, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But I mean, that's life, right? I mean, there's risk in everything.
Very quickly, give me one coach you want to see in the NFL or college coaching next year. I'll start Jonathan Hayes for me.
So that was the first one I thought about.
Yeah. I mean, can we all say that?
No.
Is it unanimous, Jonathan Hayes? Wow.
I mean, yeah, I would love to see Pep get back into the NFL. But Jonathan Hayes was so impressive, wasn't he?
Yep.
As a head coach, just what he did with that Battlehawks team and such a young quarterback. And yeah, I mean, I would love to see Jonathan Hayes get, he was in the NFL forever, but he was only a tight ends coach Pastel for the Bengals. I'd love to see him in a more prominent role back in the NFL.
It's crazy to me if he doesn't end up on a professional coaching staff. Like
he'll definitely
bananas.
Be
yeah. It's just more so what capacity, like what job title, I think.
Yeah. How about Bob Stoops? What do you think's
College.
You think he's going to lay low? Or is he going to go back? You think he's got the energy for the college game? College game's rough, man. You got to have a lot of energy to be it. That's a grind. It's a grind.
It's a young man. That's a young man's. He's got to go to a place that has experience, like an experienced recruiting staff with a DC and an OC. Like he's got to go wherever he goes next. If he goes to college, it's got to be like a CEO type of role, in my opinion.
Yeah. He needs to do that. I would jealously like to see June Jones stay in coaching, but realistically, he may just hang it up.
Yeah, at this point, he
doesn't want to grind in college. He doesn't want to grind in college. He doesn't want to do any of that anymore. It's a young man's game, as Kenny said.
And he was the one coach that the XFL really had to convince to join them and convince him to buy in because he was with the CFL. And then he said he actually had turned down the job, and then he changed his mind. So you got to feel bad for June.
Gless is getting some love on the chat box.
I am. I see that. I see that.
Coach Gless of the NFL. I love it.
Hey, there you go, Gless.
Just don't forget about us little people.
Yeah.
Right.
I do think it's interesting to note, though, the trend in college or in professional football is an offensive-minded coach. So a successful offensive coordinator to be the actual head coach. Where I think traditionally speaking, you just want someone that can actually manage a team. So I wonder if a guy like Jonathan Hayes would have to do the offensive or defensive coordinator route first before he ever got an opportunity to actually lead a football team. But he was always a tight end coach. And I don't know if he has that type of background to be an offensive coordinator. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he might not get the opportunity to be a head coach because he never had the experience to be an O coordinator.
Which is a shame because he's a leader of men. Like, I didn't see – there was not one roster or team that I saw that gravitated more to their coach than St. Louis did to Jonathan Hayes. Like, it wasn't even close, personally. So it shows what a leader he is and how much he commands respect.
Yeah. And I think you see that trend in the NFL all the time. Like, you'll go after the hot coordinator, but there have been plenty of other coaches who were never coordinators that were extremely successful. John Harbaugh being a big one that kind of comes to mind. I think Mike Tomlin was a DC for a little bit, but he's been a head coach and so long that you even forget he was even a coordinator. I think I agree with both you guys to an extent. I think he'd be a fantastic NFL head coach. I really do, and I think if you get the right offensive and defensive coordinator, that's kind of the perfect CEO, leader of men, motivator, manager of people. He doesn't need to know everything, right? Like that's kind of the staple of a really great head coach is you're able to delegate and motivate and inspire. So,
yeah, and we're obviously, still keeping track of players and happy for them that are making the jump, especially now that the XFL is no longer here. So hopefully a lot more players will be heading to the NFL. I know Storm Norton, the tackle from the Wildcats, he just joined the Chargers. There are a few more guys today. The kicker for Dallas, I believe, signed an NFL deal. So hopefully those keep coming. And especially I think it'll accelerate after the NFL draft. You'll see a lot more guys for sure. From the XFL ranks, sign with the NFL.
I agree. No doubt.
So good luck to them moving forward. You got to feel for the players, that have just, they've gone through a lot, especially guys that were in this league and the AAF. Guys like Terrence Garvin, Will Hill, players like that really, it's a gut punch, man, especially since the AAF had its issues, but the XFL, things seem to be going so well that for something like this to happen really is a kick in the nuts. So they're going to have to regroup, and best of luck. And some of those guys, there's no other way to put it. Some of those guys like Will Hill, he's done his time in the NFL. He was just playing, obviously he probably wanted to get back in the league, but, he's getting up there in age. So for some of these guys, it might be it. And now that's just one league with less opportunities that's gone.
You know who will not be getting a call from the NFL? Matt McGloin, because he stinks, Coach. He stinks.
We can say that. We can just go off the rails now. We don't have to worry about relationships.
Yeah, he stinks.
McGloin sucks. Perez sucks.
Neither is Cardell Jones, by the way, which I'm vindicated by that.
That's true. I don't see Cardell
so much because you were a Matt McGloin guy, so it kind of evens out, Kenny.
Yeah, you broke even.
In fairness, I had him like fourth. It wasn't like I had Matt McGloin as my best quarterback.
So, yeah, guys, it's been real. It's been a lot of fun. I'm not really sure how to end this. I really don't want to end it because, I mean, this is it, right? Like, there's not really much else to cover.
How about just a cheers?
Just a cheers. I know Pastel's been drinking beer this whole time.
Man,
I know.
The XFL just folded. Yeah, I'm going to have a beer.
Whatever, screw it.
Can't hate on me.
So cheers.
Cheers to the fans.
I don't have a beer, but
Kenny's been hiding his at least. Sorry, I was trying to keep it somewhat professional, putting mine in a cup.
I'm trying to be like Oliver Luck right now, okay?
Yeah.
Appeal to the fans.
But thanks, everybody. Thanks for investing in the show. Thanks for investing in the league. Thanks for investing in us and your time. It's been an absolute freaking pleasure producing content for you. We've loved doing these live shows. We started doing them at the beginning of the season. We've been doing them once or twice a week. And they've been a blast interacting with everybody out there on YouTube. And just, like Kenny said,
this isn't the last you'll hear from us. I don't think.
Yeah, we have things to work out. We have, I think. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, thank you so much. It sucks that it had to end this way. Feel bad for so many reasons, but there was a lot of good that came from this league. I don't think spring football is necessarily dead. I think this, if anything, this league proved that it could work, but it's going to be a while before I feel like people would be willing to invest their time in another, spring football league. So yeah, guys, anything else before we wrap up XFL Chalk Talk one last time?
I love you guys.
I'll stop.
Love you
guys.
guys.
Yeah, love the fans.
Love you.
Love the fans.
Don't start that.
Appreciate
Don't
everything.
start that.
Love the fans. Love you guys. It was fun, man. And we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be shooting next week. Just watch.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll jump on. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, stay with us on social media for updates on what we decide to do, at least, as we kind of figure out things from our end and regroup and figure out where we're going from here. But yeah, I just hope, since we probably won't be jumping on for a while, hope everyone is staying safe out there, with everything going on. And thank you all for following the show. We started this back last July, and we never thought, I don't think, it would go this far this quickly. But it's because of you guys investing in us. So thank you for coming to us for your XFL news. We love you all. I don't want to get sappy, but, since it's the last time, screw it.
Too late.
Too late. We're getting sappy. My voice is cracking a little bit. It's like middle school all over again. But yeah. All right. So for one last time, for Pastel, for Glessner, for Kenny's Stash, I'm Riley. We love you guys. It's been a ride. Thank you so much. And like someone said in the comments, we'll see you on the other side. Tip of the cap. Love you guys. XFL Chalk Talk out.